Under the gentle light of a quiet afternoon, a person sat in their garden, filled with anxiety and hidden sorrows. The weight of the world seemed to be pressing down on their shoulders, and the tired, sad emotions were impossible to release. Suddenly, deep within their heart, they felt a strange warmth, as if a gentle breeze had passed through. A soft voice echoed, as though from the heavens, comforting their soul. "My dear child, I am your father, your creator. I know every pain, every worry within your heart. What you feel, I understand. You do not need to explain. I have seen it all. No matter how dark the world outside may seem, I will always be with you, and I will breathe new strength into you, strength that you do not need to strive to hold on to, but a strength flowing directly from my heart into your soul." The voice was gentle, like a comforting word that the child had longed for. It wasn't a harsh command, but a warm embrace, an irreplaceable presence. The burdens in the child's heart gradually faded, replaced by a sense of peace, a new hope. They felt a spiritual strength rising, not from within themselves, but from an invisible yet very real source, from their Father in heaven. In the heart of the quiet forest, the world seemed to be in harmony with the gentle rustle of the leaves. A lone traveler sat beneath an ancient oak tree, burdened by the weight of life's trials. Their mind raced with worries, and their heart carried a heavy sorrow. As they sat there, the winds whispered softly, urging them to pause. The voice of the Great Spirit echoed through the breeze, a call to stillness, a reminder to breathe deeply. "Child of the earth," it spoke, "you are not alone. In this moment of rest, feel the peace that comes from the Creator's love. Let your thoughts settle like the calm waters of the lake. There is no need to rush, no need to fix everything. In my embrace, you will find the strength to face the storms within." The traveler closed their eyes, feeling the warmth of the sun on their face, the gentle earth beneath them, and the steady rhythm of their breath. With every exhale, they released their burdens, trusting in the Spirit's gentle guidance. "Trust in me," the voice said again, "for in your stillness I will bring you peace. Let my love quiet the storms, both around you and within you." In that moment, the traveler felt the weight lift. Their heart lightened and their soul at rest, knowing they were held in the Creator's care. In the early light of dawn, a young woman stood by the river, the mist rising like a veil between the earth and the sky. Her thoughts were heavy with the burdens of the day, the struggles of the past, and the uncertainty of what tomorrow might bring. But as she gazed upon the flowing water, she felt a gentle urging, a quiet whisper from the Creator. "Child of the earth, I am here." The voice spoke softly like the wind rustling through the trees. "Take this time with me, not as a task, but as a gift. Let your heart rest in my presence." She knelt by the river's edge, feeling the cool water touch her fingertips. Each breath she took seemed to carry the weight of the world away, and with every exhale, she felt lighter. "In this stillness, you will find peace," the voice continued. "Trust in me, for I hold the world in my hands. You need not worry about tomorrow, for I am with you in every moment." As the sun rose higher, the young woman closed her eyes, embracing the calm that now filled her heart. She knew that as long as she took time to sit in the Creator's presence each day, she would find the strength to face whatever challenges lay ahead. In the quiet expanse of the forest, where the trees stretched high like ancient guardians, a young man wandered alone. His journey had been long, filled with trials that tested his spirit, and yet he could not shake the weight of uncertainty. The path ahead seemed unclear, and the voices of doubt whispered in his ears. He had spent much of his life striving to prove his worth, through his deeds, through his labor, through the measure of his achievements. But no matter how hard he tried, the hunger for approval never seemed to fade. Each success felt fleeting, and each failure left a mark on his soul. One evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon and the sky turned shades of pink and purple, he came to a small clearing by a stream. The air was cool, and the sound of the water flowing over the stones was soothing. He sat by the edge, his heart heavy with questions. "What am I truly worth?" he whispered into the wind. "Am I enough, or must I always do more?" It was then that the voice came, soft and comforting, like the embrace of the earth itself. "My child, you are enough," it said, the words flowing like the river beside him. "You are not measured by what you do, but by the love I have for you. You do not have to earn my love. It is freely given, as constant and unwavering as the sky above. The young man closed his eyes, the words settling deep within him, sinking into his spirit like the roots of a tree that reaches for the earth. I have seen your struggles, and I have walked with you through every step. The voice continued. You do not need to prove your worth through your actions. You are loved simply because you are mine. In that moment, the young man felt the weight he had carried for so long begin to lift. He realized that his value was not found in his accomplishments or in the recognition of others. His value was rooted in the love of the Creator, a love that was not fleeting but eternal. It was a love that had been there since the beginning, long before his first steps and long after his last. He did not need to strive for this love. It was already his, as constant as the stars in the sky. As the stars began to twinkle above, the young man felt a warmth spread through his chest. He opened his eyes and looked up at the vast sky, feeling an overwhelming sense of peace. The Creator was with him, always. No matter how far he wandered or how lost he might feel at times, God's presence was a steady light guiding him forward. Do not seek your worth in the things of this world, the voice whispered once more. You are not defined by your deeds, but by my love. You are a child of the earth, created in my image, and that is where your worth is found. The young man stood and looked around, the forest now filled with a sense of sacred stillness. His heart was no longer burdened by the pressure to be something he was not. He was enough just as he was. The love of the Creator had always been with him, and it would always remain a constant companion on his journey. With a deep breath, he walked away from the clearing, his steps lighter, his spirit free. The path ahead was still unknown, but for the first time in a long while, he knew he did not need to walk it alone. He was loved just as he was, and that love would carry him through every storm, through every trial. The Creator's presence was not something he had to seek. It was always there, with him, guiding him gently every step of the way. As he continued his journey, he no longer looked to his actions or achievements to define who he was. He was defined by the love that had been with him from the beginning, the love that never faded, never wavered. And with that love, he was enough, always. In the shadow of the mighty mountains, where the wind spoke in whispers and the earth hummed with life, a young warrior sat by the fire. His eyes, though young, had witnessed countless seasons, each one marked by struggle and sacrifice. The fire crackled and danced, casting flickering shadows on his face, but his heart was heavy. For many moons, he had walked a path fraught with hardship. His village had faced famine, the wild had grown restless, and many of his people had fallen ill. Yet, through it all, he held on to one thing, his faith. Though his body was weary, his spirit had remained strong, and he had continued to trust in the Creator's plan, no matter how unclear it seemed. Yet tonight, as the stars began to pierce the evening sky, the weight of doubt began to creep in. He had prayed, he had offered sacrifices, and still the answers seemed distant, as if the heavens themselves were silent. The warrior wondered, as many do in times of trial, whether his efforts had been enough. Was his faith strong enough? Was his devotion worthy of the Creator's blessing? As the fire burned low, he found himself asking, "What now, Spirit? What is it that you want from me?" The wind stirred, and in its cool embrace, he felt the presence of the Great Spirit. It was a presence that was always with him, but tonight it felt different, closer, warmer, and more intimate. As the fire died down to glowing embers, a voice, like the deep rumble of the earth, spoke to him softly, yet with undeniable power. "My child," the voice began, its words like the gentle rush of the river, steady and full of love. "I have seen your heart. I have watched as you have faced each storm with courage, as you have walked each path with unwavering faith. I have seen the trials that have made your spirit tremble, and I have seen the quiet strength with which you have held on to me. Do not think that your efforts have gone unnoticed. I see you, I know you, and I am proud of you." The warrior felt a warmth spread through him, as though the Creator had just wrapped him in a blanket woven from the stars. His heart, which had felt heavy with doubt, began to lift, and for the first time in many seasons, he felt a deep sense of peace. The weight of uncertainty that had clung to him was starting to melt away, replaced by a quiet, reassuring presence. You have not been walking alone, the voice continued. I have walked with you through every dark night, through every shadow that has crossed your path. Your faith has been like the roots of the great oak, tree deep, strong, and unwavering, even when the storm winds howl. Your trust in me has never wavered, even when the road ahead seemed uncertain. This is the strength I have given you. This is the power of your faith. As the voice echoed in his spirit, the warrior looked up to the heavens. The stars were bright tonight, brighter than he had ever remembered. It was as if the sky itself was alive with light, shining down upon him, filling him with a sense of wonder and awe. He realized in that moment that his faith was not just a solitary journey, it was a bond with something greater than himself. The Creator had always been there, guiding him, holding him, even when he couldn't see the way. Now, child, the voice spoke again, a tone of joy filling the words. You are entering a new season. I am not done with you. I have only just begun. Your faith has laid the foundation, and now I am building something new. The path ahead will be different from what you have known, but trust in me, for it is a path that will bring you closer to the vision I have for you. Rejoice, for the work I am doing within you is not finished, it is just beginning. The warrior's heart swelled with hope, his doubts fading like the shadows before the dawn. A sense of excitement stirred within him, something he had not felt in a long time. It was as if a new strength was rising up inside him, one that would carry him forward with renewed purpose. He knew the road would still be difficult, but he also knew now that he was not alone. The Creator's presence was with him, and that was all he needed. You are not just a warrior, child, the voice continued, a gentle laugh in its tone. You are a part of my plan, a part of something greater. What you have been through has not been in vain. The struggles you have faced, the heartache, the moments of doubt, all of it has shaped you, has prepared you for what is to come. Your faith is the fire that will light the way, and I will guide you with my hand. The young warrior stood, his spirit now fully awake, his heart filled with a strength he had never known. The stars above seemed to shine brighter than ever, and the land around him, though wild and untamed, felt like a place of promise. He raised his arms to the sky, not in despair, but in gratitude. For the first time in many moons, he could see the truth. The Creator had never left him. His faith had been the thread that connected him to the Great Spirit, and that thread had only grown stronger with time. You have not failed, the voice said, as if reading the warrior's thoughts. You have been faithful, and now I am blessing you with new beginnings. Rejoice, for I am with you, and together we will walk this new path. The past has shaped you, but it will not define you. You are ready for the new season, for the work I will do in and through you. With those words, the warrior knew that his journey was not over, it was only just beginning. His faith had carried him through the darkest nights, and now it would carry him to new heights. He was not alone. The Creator was with him, guiding him, and he had been given a new vision, a new purpose, and a new strength. The fire within him burned brighter than ever before. The winds picked up, and the warrior felt the warmth of the Creator's presence once more, a presence that filled him with the knowledge that no matter what lay ahead, he was ready. He was not done yet had only just begun. And with that realization, the warrior took his first step forward, knowing that the journey would be long, but that he would never walk it alone. Beneath the towering peaks of the sacred mountains, where the earth seemed to hold its breath in quiet reverence, a lone figure walked the path through the dense forest. The air was thick with the scent of pine and the soft rustling of leaves, but the traveler's heart was heavy. The trials of life had pressed upon them like the weight of the earth itself, each step feeling as though it brought them further into a wilderness of uncertainty. Their mind raced with worries, and their spirit trembled under the burden of the unknown. With each passing day, the path seemed longer, the shadows darker, and the burdens heavier. The warrior's heart began to falter, the patience that once burned within them now fading like the dying embers of a fire. One evening, as the golden light of the setting sun spilled across the land, the traveler came to a quiet clearing. They stopped to rest by a small creek, its waters whispering gently over the stones. The soft murmur of the stream was soothing, but their heart remained unsettled. The road ahead seemed endless, filled with dangers and uncertainty. Doubt crept into their thoughts, and they asked aloud, "Great Spirit, I have walked this path for so long. I have been patient. I have trusted, but I do not know if I have the strength to go on. Why do the trials persist? Why does the path seem so long?" As the last rays of the sun dipped behind the mountains, a warm breeze stirred the trees around them, and the voice of the Creator spoke, soft and steady, like the earth's heartbeat. "Child of the earth, I have heard your prayers, and I have seen your heart. You walk the path not in solitude, but with me beside you. The strength you seek is already within you, for I have placed it there. You may not see it now, but it is there, waiting to rise like the dawn after the longest night. My strength, like the river, flows through you. Trust in it, for it will carry you through the storms that lie ahead." The traveler sat in silence, feeling the weight of the words settle over them like a blanket of warmth. The voice of the Creator did not offer quick answers or promises of easy victories, but instead a deep reassurance tone that spoke to the very core of their being. The Creator's strength was not about immediate victories or the absence of challenges. It was about the quiet resilience that comes with trusting in God's timing, the knowing that the path would unfold as it was meant to, no matter how long it seemed. "Be patient, child," the Creator continued. "The path you walk is one of wisdom and growth. Just as the oak tree does not rush its roots to the surface, so too must you trust in the process of becoming. You may not see the full picture now, but each step you take brings you closer to the strength you seek. Trust in my timing, for the land is not shaped in a single day. The mountains are carved over centuries, and so too will your spirit be shaped. The trials you face are not burdens, they are tools that will refine your soul and prepare you for the path ahead." The warrior's heart began to steady as the words of the Creator sank deeper into their spirit. They closed their eyes, allowing the peace of the moment to settle in, feeling the strength of the earth beneath them and the whisper of the wind in the trees. They knew the road ahead would still be difficult, that there would be challenges and obstacles that would test their resolve. But now, in the stillness of the clearing, they realized something profound, that they did not have to face it alone. The strength of the Creator was within them, and through that strength, they would have the patience to wait, the wisdom to navigate, and the agility to move when the time was right. As the stars began to emerge in the night sky, the traveler stood and began walking once more. The weight of doubt had lifted, replaced by a sense of purpose. They could feel the Creator's presence beside them, guiding each step, each breath. The path ahead no longer seemed endless, but rather, it felt like a journey that was unfolding exactly as it should. The trees whispered encouragement, the winds spoke of peace, and the stars above twinkled with the promise of the Creator's enduring love. With each step, the traveler felt their body grow lighter, their heart stronger. They had not yet arrived at their destination, but they knew they were not alone. The strength of the Creator flowed through them, empowering them to face the unknown with patience, agility, and wisdom. Every challenge that arose was not a barrier, but a lesson, a step closer to the person they were meant to become. Days turned into weeks, and the warrior continued their journey, now with a renewed spirit. The path was still difficult, but they no longer felt overwhelmed. They trusted in the Creator's timing, knowing that each moment had a purpose. When the path grew steep, they pressed on with quiet strength. When the storms came, they stood firm, knowing that the Creator's strength would carry them through. And when the silence came, they listened, knowing that in stillness the Creator's wisdom would guide them forward. And so, the warrior walked on, one step at a time, trusting in the strength that flowed through them, in the patience that would see them through, and in the wisdom that would light their way. The Creator's timing was perfect, and with each passing day, the warrior's spirit grew stronger, ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead, for they knew they were not alone. The Creator was with them always. Under the vast expanse of the desert sky, where the wind swept across the earth with the power of 1,000 spirits, a young woman stood at the edge of a quiet cliff. Her heart was a storm of fear and uncertainty, and her spirit trembled like the leaves of the great trees when the wind howls. She had long been silent, quiet as the river that runs beneath the earth, seen but not heard. The weight of her own voice felt heavy, and the thought of speaking her truth before others filled her with a deep, gnawing anxiety. For years, she had kept her words hidden, wrapped tightly in the corners of her heart, afraid of what others might think, of what might happen if she dared to speak. Her people had always taught her that silence was strength, that a quiet spirit held wisdom, but in her heart, she knew she had a calling to stand tall, to speak with the strength of the mountains, to walk with the courage of the wind itself. She had seen it in her dreams, heard it in the whispers of the sacred river, felt it deep within her soul. Yet the fear held her fast, and the voice of doubt was loud, drowning out the quiet call to rise. On this day, when the sun hung low in the sky, casting its golden light over the desert landscape, the young woman closed her eyes and whispered a prayer to the Creator. "Great Spirit," she called softly, "I feel the fire within me, but I do not know how to carry it. I am afraid. I do not know how to speak my truth, how to rise above the whispers of doubt. My heart trembles like the leaves, and my voice is as quiet as the desert night. Show me the way." As she sat there, the silence seemed to stretch around her, deep and heavy. But then, as the sun sank beneath the horizon and the first stars began to twinkle, a soft breeze stirred the air. It was not like the harsh winds of the desert, but a gentle, caressing breeze that seemed to wrap around her, lifting the weight from her shoulders. And in that breeze, she heard a voice not from the earth, not from the sky, but from deep within her own heart. It was the voice of the Creator, as steady as the heartbeat of the world itself. "My child," the voice spoke, as soft as the whisper of the wind through the trees, "you are not alone. I see your heart, and I know the fear that holds you. You have carried the weight of silence for too long, but now it is time to rise. I will breathe boldness into you, just as I breathe life into all things. You are not weak because you fear, but strong because you continue to seek me even in the midst of your fear. Know that I am with you, and I will guide your voice. You do not walk this path alone." The young woman felt the warmth of the Creator's words fill her chest, and she took a deep breath. She could feel the breath of the Creator within her, steady and powerful, like the winds that carry the eagle high into the sky. "Do not let your shyness hold you back," the voice continued. "I have made you strong. Your voice carries the fire of your ancestors, the wisdom of the earth, and the love of the Creator. Stand tall, child. The world needs to hear your truth." The young woman opened her eyes, and for the first time, she saw the land before her not as an obstacle, but as a place of promise. The wind had stopped, and the silence that followed was no longer heavy, but peaceful. She stood, her feet firm on the earth, and with each step, she felt the strength of the mountains beneath her. Her heart began to steady. The fear that once gripped her now softened by the Creator's love. With each breath, she felt the boldness the Creator had promised rise within her, a flame that could not be quenched. As she began to walk forward, the earth beneath her feet seemed to come alive. The air around her shimmered with the presence of the Creator, and she felt the warmth of His love as if the sun itself had wrapped her in its embrace. The young woman knew that this was her moment, her time to rise above the fear that had held her back. She could feel the Creator's breath filling her lungs, breathing life and courage into her soul. With each step she took, the voices of doubt grew quieter, drowned out by the strength of her own spirit. The Creator's love filled her heart, steadying her, and with that, have placed within you the strength and wisdom to rise above the challenges that come your way. The world may try to tell you that happiness is found in what you can see, in what you can touch, but the true joy, the joy that surpasses all understanding, is found in your faith, in the love you give and receive, and in the peace that comes from knowing you are part of my creation. The young man's heart swelled with emotion as the voice of the Creator filled him with a warmth he had never known. It was a warmth that went beyond the warmth of the sunnet, was the warmth of love, of a deep connection to the earth, to the sky, to the people and creatures that walked the land with him. The Creator's love was not just a distant foresight, was a love that wrapped around him, filled him, and reminded him of his immense potential. He had been searching for joy in the wrong places, but now he knew that joy was not something to be found, it was something to be embraced, something that flowed from the Creator's love and filled the soul with peace. The stars began to appear in the sky, twinkling above like distant lights of hope. The young man looked up at them, feeling a deep sense of belonging, as though he was part of the vastness of the universe, connected to all things. The Creator's voice spoke again, this time with a quiet strength. Embrace the love that I offer you, and you will find joy beyond measure. This joy is not found in what the world values, but in the love that flows through you, in the peace that comes from knowing you are loved. Your potential is limitless, child. Do not let fear or doubt hold you back from embracing the joy I have placed before you. With those words, the young man felt a wave of clarity wash over him. He understood now that his worth was not defined by the things he had sought in the world, but by the love the Creator had always shown him. He had been searching for joy, but now he realized that joy was not something to be pursued, it was something to be received, a gift that was already within him. It was the love that had always been there, waiting for him to embrace it. The young man stood tall, feeling a new strength rise within him. He was no longer bound by the pursuit of worldly happiness, but had found a joy that surpassed all earthly things. The joy of knowing he was loved, of knowing that his potential was limitless, and that the Creator's love was a constant presence in his life. As he walked forward, he felt lighter, his heart full of peace, and his spirit filled with the courage to embrace the love and joy that was now his to carry. In the heart of the vast wilderness, where the land stretched endlessly beneath the sky and the mountains rose like the towering spirits of old, a lone traveler found themselves lost. The trail they had walked for so many days had disappeared into the shadows, swallowed by the earth itself. The once clear path had become a maze of twisted trees and jagged rocks, each step feeling heavier than the last. The traveler's heart grew weary, and the weight of uncertainty settled upon them like a dark cloud. The strength that had carried them so far now seemed to slip through their fingers like sand. The wind howled in the distance, carrying with it a chill that cut through to the very bone. The sky above, once bright and filled with promise, had darkened, and the first stars began to appear, their light dim and distant. The traveler paused, breathing heavily, their spirits sinking with every breath. They felt the weight of the journey, of the days spent walking alone through the wild, with no guide but the whispers of the wind and the songs of the birds. They had hoped for something that would lead them to the end of the path, but now, in the silence of the night, they felt only doubt and fear. In their heart, they whispered to the earth, to the sky, to the Great Spirit, "Where are you? I have walked so far, yet I feel lost. My strength is gone, my heart is broken. Why do you not answer? I cannot go on." As the words faded into the night, a gentle breeze stirred the leaves around them, and the earth beneath their feet seemed to shift. It was as though the land itself had heard their cry, and in that moment a voice spoke softly, like the rustle of the leaves, like the whisper of the wind. "My child, you are not lost. I have..." The Creator's words echoed in his heart as he moved forward, guiding him with a new sense of purpose. "You are a child of the earth, of the stars, and of the wind. You are a part of something greater than yourself, and your joy is found in embracing that truth. Walk in love, walk in faith, and you will find joy that surpasses all understanding." And so, with each step he took, the young man carried the joy that came not from the world, but from the Creator's love, a joy that would never fade, never falter, and would always guide him forward. "Heard your call. I am near, always near. Do not think you walk this path alone." But the warrior's heart was heavy, burdened by a deep uncertainty that had grown within them like a shadow in the night. The world around them was vast, and yet they felt small and unimportant, as if the winds of fate had left them behind. The warrior had been chosen for many things in their life, chosen to be strong, chosen to lead, chosen to fight. But now, in this moment, they were unsure of what the future held. The calls of destiny seemed distant, their purpose uncertain. Their mind was clouded with doubt, and their spirit, once full of fire, now felt as if it were flickering on the edge of exhaustion. The weight of the world pressed down on them, and they wondered if they were truly ready for the path that lay ahead. The river before them seemed endless, a reminder that the journey was long and the road uncertain. "Great Spirit," the warrior whispered into the wind, "I have walked far and fought many battles, but now I stand before a river that seems too wide to cross. I feel lost, as though my path has ended. I do not know if I have the strength to continue. What am I meant to do? Where do I go from here?" As the warrior spoke, The earth seemed to shift beneath their feet, and the wind began to stir in a way that was both gentle and powerful. It was as though the land itself was listening, responding to the prayer in the warrior's heart. The trees creaked, and the sky above, once clouded with uncertainty, began to clear, revealing the first stars of the evening. And then, from the depths of the earth, a voice spoke, calm yet filled with power, like the deep rumble of thunder in the distance. "My child," the voice said, as steady and sure as the river itself, "I have heard your prayer. You are not lost. You have not been forgotten. I have called you to walk this path, and I have given you the strength to do so. Your journey is not over. It is only just beginning. The challenges you face are but steps along the way, and each step is preparing you for what is to come. You are stronger than you know, and your purpose is clearer than you see." The warrior stood still, feeling the weight of the voice's words settle deep within them, as if they had always known these truths but had forgotten in the chaos of the world. The Creator, the Great Spirit, was with them. They were not alone. They had been chosen for something greater than themselves, and this moment of doubt was only a test of their faith. "Do not fear, for I am with you," the voice continued. "You have been called to rise above the challenges before you, to step forward in faith, to trust in the strength I have given you. The road ahead may seem unclear, but with each step you take, I will be there to guide you. I have chosen you, and I will provide for you, just as I have always provided for those who walk in faith. You are my warrior, and your mission is just beginning." The warrior's heart stirred, and for the first time in what felt like an eternity, they felt a spark of hope. The weight that had settled on their shoulders began to lift, replaced by a sense of purpose, a sense of calling. The Great Spirit had called them not to a life of ease, but to a life of strength, of courage, and of faith. They had been chosen for this path, and though the journey was difficult, they were not walking it alone. "You are not alone," the voice continued, its power like the winds that whip through the trees. "I will provide for you. I will be your shield when the world tries to break you. I will be your strength when you feel weak. I will be your guide when the path ahead seems uncertain. Trust in me and know that I have already prepared the way for you. You are my child, and I will not let you falter. Your mission is to rise, to lead, and to walk in faith, knowing that I will always be by your side." The warrior took a deep breath, feeling the power of the Creator's words flood through them, like the rushing waters of the river that now seemed to carry them forward, not backward. They had been chosen, and they had been given everything they needed to fulfill their calling. Their strength was not their own, but was drawn from the Creator's love and grace. With this knowledge, the doubts that had plagued them began to fade, replaced by a deep, unshakable trust. "I will rise," the warrior whispered, their voice steady and strong, as if the very air around them had filled with power. "I will walk in faith, and I will trust that you will guide me." The wind shifted, and the trees around them seemed to lean in closer, as if the earth itself was responding to the warrior's vow. The stars above twinkled brighter, as though the heavens themselves were rejoicing in the warrior's decision. They were no longer standing at the edge of the river, uncertain and lost. They were standing on the threshold of their purpose, ready to step forward in faith. "Your mission is great," the voice said, its tone filled with both pride and encouragement. "But you are greater still. You have the strength of the mountains in your spirit. You have the courage of the eagle in your heart. You have the wisdom of the ages within you. Now step forward, child. Step forward in faith, and I will carry you." With those words, the warrior turned toward the river, no longer feeling the fear that had once held them back. The waters, once an obstacle, now seemed to part before them, as if the earth itself was clearing the way. They took a step, then another, their feet firm on the earth, their heart full of faith. The Great Spirit was with them, guiding their every step, providing for them with grace and favor. They were not alone. They had been called, chosen, and empowered for this mission. And so the warrior walked forward, their spirit renewed, their strength restored, and their faith unshakable. The path ahead was still unknown, but they knew that with each step the Creator would be there, guiding them, lifting them up, and providing everything they needed. They had been chosen for this mission, and with the Creator's grace, they would fulfill it, rising above every obstacle, trusting in the strength and power of the one who had called them.